Hi, everyone. It's later on in the day. I was thinking today about the value of having a higher power. And what I mean by that is a power greater than yourself that you can turn to in difficult times, in times of trials and walls and earthquake events. 12 years ago, I was in a wall. It was a marriage crisis, and I was also struggling in my cancer journey. I've been on a 21-year cancer journey, and it was going from bad to worse. And I ended up in this 12-step program. It was through my church, so I resonated with it because I'm a Jesus follower, and it's where Christ is the higher power. And it does the 12 steps. It goes through the 12 steps. I don't have time now, but the 12 steps are a wonderful journey into acceptance, self actualization, surrender. In other words, if I could sum up the 12 steps, I would say peace with God, peace with myself, and peace with others, which is really wonderful when you're faced with a journey like cancer that you feel like you have no control over. I mean, ultimately, you can choose doctors and cancer centers and get the best in the area. That's what I ended up doing. I'm in the New York City area, so I went and had Memorial Sloan Kettering tackle my case at first. Now I'm a patient of about 5 to 6 hospitals, and I ended up at Lenox Hill Hospital down in Manhattan because Sloan Kettering couldn't surgically do my case anymore. But all through this journey, there has been a recognition that there is a hand greater than mine that is directing things, that my belief is that he is in charge. Now, why am I struggling with pain and suffering and the threat of death, terminal cancer diagnoses? And that's where surrender and trust in my higher power come into effect. I believe that in my case, my higher power is Jesus, and that my cancer filtered through his hands first, that he didn't actually bring this harm to me, but he allowed it. I look back now on my 21 years, and I don't know where I'd be without that relationship with my higher power, that prayer, meditation, expressing fear, anger, and sadness, surrender, trust. For me, it has allowed me to be on this journey because there were times that I couldn't do it. I'm thinking of my 14th surgery 11 years ago now where it became metastatic, and I basically gave up, and I pushed every higher power out of my mind. At that point, I pushed God away, and I said, I can't do this anymore. You have betrayed me. And my story is that I was in the hospital for 3.5 weeks, whatever it was, but I journaled. My feelings poured out. I journaled them, but it was a huge reminder. I feel like Jesus was there with me, and it was a huge reminder for me that his love for me hadn't changed. That even though I was experiencing this really difficult journey, and I didn't know what was going to happen with 6 kids, I thought I had a 5% chance to live 1 year, which is what the stats said. Through that relationship with my higher power, Jesus, I was able to get up, do recovery. I put what I wrote out what I believe are 23 truths. It was really dealing with fear and sadness. That was the big thing. Fear has been a crusher for me. Dealing with fear has been, I think, probably the major emotion that I've had to deal with, that being scared and being fearful. And God's really done a big work in my life in that area. The three things as a young person I feared the most was like having a child who passed, and I have a daughter who had a horrific drug addiction journey who overdosed, but she lived, thank God, and she's doing great. And then divorce, and I am divorced, and then being diagnosed with a terminal illness. And I've experienced those three things, and I can honestly say that my higher power has made the difference of journeying through these walls, giving me peace and comfort, even when it didn't make sense. So that's why I do these videos. I want to give testimony to him and to how he has rescued me in this. I'm not this very strong person, but I believe my higher power has given me strength and courage and hope and mercy and peace and healing. Anyway, I thought I would just communicate that, the benefits of having a higher power, mine being Jesus. Thanks. Bye.